Alrighty, everyone. We are here today at Portland International Raceway for the final race in the regular season for the Western Division. We were treated to an absolute gem of a race last night to conclude the East Coast, and now just one more race before we know exactly everyone that's locked into the chase. Starting on the front row, you've got the 21 of Trevor Walker and the 15 of Ewan What Army. What Army's boss man ended up coming home with the win yesterday at Pocono. Hopefully, LFG Motorsports can possibly get another win here today. Good starting position for them. Then you've got Brian DeBlank and Chris Harvey, second row. Third row, Braden Hunt in a must-win scenario, starting good here at the road course alongside Kyler Sestre. Monty Shangle and Tom Cording. Philip Leeds and the 25 of Alex Portolan Wilson. Matthew Fasnaugh and Bella Fawn. Dalton Scott and Krista Cower. Lynn Farrell and Silas Huddleston. Silas still in the mix here. He's going to have a good day to gain points or even get a win to lock his way in. Then you've got Cash and John Hagan, Adam Starr and Dave Steele Jr. Alan Malcolm currently is your ninth on the point standings, so he's locked in on points right now. He could still get bumped out, fall to 10th, and if we had a surprise winner, he would fall out. And Chavot alongside Walkner, Gaiman, and Jacob Shangle. Spinham Walker running the 58 truck here today. It'll be his first ever start here in the USA Trucks with the 29 alongside of him of Nate Newman. Then you got Paul Adino and Roach, Craig Popcris and Nathan Mann, Luis Rodriguez and Luke, Lotus King and Lucas Holmes, Jamison Thole and Daniel Paulus, Kat Durham, Gavin Legend, Chasey Plays, and Josh Drake. It is kind of different having a road course to in the season here, for the regular season at least. A lot of these drivers hoping to get a win here today. Looking in the second row, you got Brian DeBlank, who is pretty much in a must-win scenario at this point. He sits about 14th in the points, and pointing his way in will be a lot harder to do than some of the other drivers that are higher up in the points. Yes, so Brian DeBlank 13th, 13 points back. If he's able to finish higher than Josh Gaiman, who is towards the back of the field, I believe. Turn 1's going to be the most hectic part of this track when they get going here. Green flag waving in the air. Restart zone marked with the white boxes and X's. Trevor Walker has been a hard driver to beat on road courses, so him starting at the front of the field is no surprise here. But What Army gets off to the early lead as he closes the door on the 21 truck. Chris Harvey slots his way up to third. Brian DeBlank in fourth. But yeah, let's see where Josh Gaiman currently runs on track so that we got an idea of what DeBlank needs to do here today. There we go. Gaiman all the way back just outside the top 25. So as they run right now, Gaiman would fall out and DeBlank would point his way in. Plenty of racing though. 72 laps of racing here at Portland. Road courses often come down to pit strategy too, so there might be some craziness go down with pit stops and whatnot. It's been a good stretch of races for LFG Motorsports, as the last 2 races have been won by an LFG team truck. Chris Harvey won at Evergreen a couple weeks ago, and then just last night, Chaz Chadwick got the win at Pocono to lock his way into the chase for the championship. You and What Army leading right now. It wouldn't be a championship berth, as that's an all-star seat that has rotated between multiple drivers. But still, a win would keep, it'd give another driver an opportunity to get in on points if, and wow, Trevor Walker goes way wide there. That's a mistake you do not often see from one of the fastest road course racers. Seemed like he might have just pushed it a little too hard there. Good thing he's locked into the chase, because he'll be able to take it back to the garage and not have to have a good result here today. Wow. So that moves everyone up 1 spot from second on back. Chris Harvey now into second, chasing his teammate, the 15 of You and What Army. And it seems like every time we run Portland, the ticker doesn't like to work, so apologize. I can see that on my other screen, so we'll just try to do our best at giving you all the rundown as they run. Brian DeBlanc running third, Kyler Sustre in fourth, Braden Hunt in fifth, Tom Cording, our current points leader, running sixth. Josh Gaiman in 31st position right now. He's going to end up losing more than 13 points to the likes of Brian DeBlanc, who's trying to race his way in on points for the championship. But at the same time, I got to look too and see, because there's a couple more drivers in between the two of them. So Roach, Brian DeBlanc is going to have to get 7 more points than Roach, which looks like he's accomplishing that, because Roach is more than 7 spots back from him. The 6 truck still not visible yet. There we are. 29th for Roach, so Brian DeBlanc would move past both Dalton Scott and Roach up to 11th position, and Josh Gaiman will drop back even further than that, giving DeBlanc the highly coveted number 10 spot for the transfer. The other driver that really doesn't have much to sweat about is Alan Malcolm here in the number 9 truck, running 22nd right now. He just needs to have a good finish here today. He has a 45-point gap on Josh Gaiman. There's no way for Brian DeBlanc to catch up to Alan Malcolm. So as long as Malcolm beats Gaiman, Malcolm will be an easy transfer. The only thing we never know about is if we get a surprise winner here at Portland. That could knock some things around. Surprise winner that is not an all-star seat, of course. What Army making it look easy at the front of the field here. Ooh, he drives it a little too hard. And that might give Harvey a shot at catching up to the team. It's also the other thing I forgot to mention is today we are implementing kind of a test factor here. We aren't going to have full-blown cautions at road courses. The only time we will throw a caution is if there's a wreck on track that ends up blocking or impeding traffic. So if a truck stays stalled on pit road or stalled on, in the way of oncoming traffic, I'll be the flag man and throw a manual caution. What this might end up doing is it might make, strategies even weirder for the most part, since no one can expect a caution to come when they need it the most. It's a test trial, and I think it's going to be the new normal here in the NASR offline racing series. So many times under road course racing, we end up wasting a lot of, ends up being 15 minutes here, 30 minutes there of running around at pace car speed. And it doesn't make for an overall great product of racing when you end up watching all the trucks slow up to take the caution, The hard part will be policing the field. Oh, we had another one off here. 23 of Lotus King. Since we won't actually know when a caution or any wrecks happen. Yeah, the 23 just got too wide in a spot where they shouldn't have been. And that'll put an end to the day for the 23. Wow, the 48, the 95, the 94 all join the 21 with what might be a track glitch here at Portland. Wanted to try a different track than the other Portland that has been rather unexciting for racing action. So this was going to be my new test. Yeah, it seems like so much of it, there's just a slight AI line glitch of sorts. The 94 almost makes it through there. At least they're not doing it on every lap, but they get into the grass and they can't slow it up. 94. There's another one. Number 1 of Silas Huddleston got in a wreck too, so that's going to put an end to his day. Same gremlin as we've seen all day here. We saw it with the second place truck as well. Yep, it's hopefully we can keep more than 30 trucks alive at the end of this one. 36 of Lucas Holmes. So many of them are not even championship contenders that are making the mistake. So it's almost safe to assume that some of your higher talented race trucks out there are avoiding making the mistake. As long as our top 10 can keep out of trouble, we should have a good race on our hands regardless of the shenanigans. When it comes down to it, it's going to be everyone's on the same track here. All the drivers, have the same opportunity to make the same mistake. Yet we've seen so many laps where the front of the field has not made that mistake. So, oh, the 46, not going to be the next victim. Looking through the field, let's see how everyone's doing. Ooh, up to a top 20 position for Alan Chavot. Not bad on the number 97. Dave Steele Jr., who could use a little bit of luck, a little bit of help. He's far enough out of the points that he's in must-win scenario to get to the chase here. But it's possible. That 22 truck has shown some strength and muscle all season. '18th right now with still plenty of racing to go. 62 laps remaining here at Portland. Tyler Shangle hopped into the 45 truck, but due in part to the late entry into the series to help cover for the absence of Tashi Gupta, Tyler Shangle is not going to be eligible for the chase, but rather he'll still be locked in as the top 20 and be allowed to race during the chase and take wins away from chase contenders possibly. And then you got John Hagan, who kind of blew us away this season, giving Chevy its first win in the USA Trucks. It took nearly a year and a half before Chevy could get to victory lane, but they did it here with this man in the 88 truck. Lynn Farrell in 13th. Matthew Fastnot has been very exciting to watch this season with 2 wins on the bill. It's just the start of probably something bigger for that 09 team. They're going to keep it rolling into the chase and see what happens. So Tom Corning with his 6th place run right now is going to be good enough for him to take the regular season championship. We haven't really spotlighted that as of recent here, but his standing in the points, he's just got to beat, well, when he started this race, he had a 67-point lead, so he is your regular season champion already confirmed. He's just going to have to hope for a good finish here today and possibly get some more bonus points that go towards the chase. And talk about a driver that was starting off very strong and had some unfortunate run of bad races here in the last couple weeks. Brian DeBlanc looked like he was going to be a championship contender through and through. And here today, one of his strong suits we've seen is road courses. And usually in the Cup Series, he's been really good on road courses. In the truck, even when he was having bad seasons, he would somehow find a way to outperform the others on road courses. So he's in his happy place right now and sitting 3rd, which would be good enough to push him on into the W chase for the championship. I'm glad you guys are tuning in. I apologize. The ticker, I think the last time the ticker stopped working was a race that I hosted at Portland as well. So there must just be a slight, slight mishap with Portland, but the laps are still counting. You can see it says lap 13 of 72. Fastest lap belongs to Monty Shangle, so at least we can keep an eye on that. Cautions are disabled here for Portland today, and it's going to be a new normal for the NASCAR World of Racing that we will have no cautions on the road courses, because that really slows up the pace of the race. I want to keep the action rolling, keep things fresh, and vibrant for the series. Meantime, it's been you and What Army at the front of the field leading the whole time. Chris Harvey has kind of eked his way closer to that 15 truck, catching up to him. Harvey wants to try and prove that the win last week was just one of many, as showing some strength here at the road course. Him and his teammate both running 1-2. Seems like the retirements have continued, as we now have Gavin Legend and Cash joining the retirement chain. 14 laps in, we still have 31 trucks running. So today here at Portland, it's going to be survival of the fittest. And I know for a fact that this corner is a very, very tough corner in all of racing. I've seen so many times where an IndyCar driver at, Portland in particular, as I've been to Portland at least 4 times now, a lot of the trouble once they get up to speed and even just solo car running, they almost find a way to wreck into that tire barrier 9 times out of 10 if they're going to make a mistake. And it seems like the game has kind of picked up on that too. It's just the sheer strategy, it's a very strategic corner that you have to set yourself up for and carry just enough speed if you want to be competitive. We'll go through on the in-car here for the 15 of What Army. He's obviously running the fastest of laps at the front of the field here. You listen, he's kind of babying the brake, so he kind of just gives it a little bit. We'll go through a few other trucks from the start of it. This is a very high-speed backstretch. He's already hitting the rev chip there. You kind of have to use the turtle curbs to your advantage to make the turns work. And then you're back to another long straight where you have to get up to full speed. And then turn 1 here is often very treacherous as well. If you're too wide going into this first turn, it's often a recipe for disaster. Do more in-car. That's kind of a, yeah. Yeah, a lot of the race can be won or lost through that turn. Setting up your truck to get back onto the front straight here with as much speed as possible. On board here with Chris Harvey as he's trying to chase the dragon that is you and What Army. Wow, the setups for the LFG Motorsports trucks are very stout because they can get up to another gear right at the end of that backstretch. Saw a lot of the trucks that we went on cam with that they were hitting their rev chip and weren't able to shift up that they have them geared so low. That must be a lot of the reasoning behind why these two trucks are out front leading. What Army's showing a little bit of weakness there at the front of the field. You could see Harvey made quite the gap and made it shrink there. Yeah, and there we go again. Harvey just drives in a lot harder into the turns. What Army kind of struggles on corner entry. However, it sets him up for a better corner exit. Two completely different strategies on racing the track here for these top two drivers. Well, it looks like we had another retirement. The 29 of Nate Newman now out of the race. We can give you an update on the bottom end of the field. This way, the running order ain't going to change. 31st is Nate Newman. 32nd is Cash. 33rd is Gavin Legend. Then 34th is Daniel Paulus Jr. 35th is the 36. And I got to get a name verification on that. Lucas Holmes in the 36. 36th is Silas Huddleston. 37th is Chasey Plays. 38 is Lotus King. 39th is Luis Rodriguez. 40th is Anheuser Wagner. 41st is Paul Ladino. And dead last, as crazy as it sounds, the 21 of Trevor Walker at a road course. Walker, of course, is locked in to the chase, so not needing a spectacular finish here today. Even with the 90 truck of Tom Cording already locking up the regular season championship, not a lot on the line for Trevor Walker to gain. But with our bonus points, we do award more than just the wins towards the chase. Drivers that completed, well, if we have one driver in particular that completed the most laps on the season, they'll get a bonus point for that. Driver with the most top 5 finishes will get a point. And driver with the most top 10s will get a point. And I believe the points go up from there. The driver with the least amount of DNFs gets 2 points. And let's say if we have multiple drivers that share that honorific, 3 drivers, let's say, each have 1 DNF, which is the least amount of DNFs on the season. All 3 of those drivers would share the bonus points for that. And the 61 of Gaiman is down pit road. Perhaps a strategic move on the 61 team to try... Oh, nope, the 61 is out of the race now. So that all but gives the 85 of Brian DeBlanc that number 10 position right now with Josh Gaiman out. Gaiman must have hit it the hardest of them all because you can see it left his truck smoking. At least they're only dropping off like once every 5 laps right now. Very doable, unlike a track where they'd be doing it every single lap. And also the fact that we have no cautions for the road course race means that the race stays green. We're not going to get bogged down by repetitive cautions here at the road course. I like to walk on the thin line with my commentator magic, because if if anything happens now, it's all the, commentary jinx or curse or whatever you want to call it. But it's definitely a fine line, and you got to dance around it sometimes. It's been great to see this 85 truck running well here today. Doesn't need to win the race, which is, kind of surprising, to think that you could still have someone point in here on the West Coast. The West Coast has seen 8 different winners, so there's really not much room for drivers to point their way in. A lot of this materialized as well with the fact that we had multiple all-star entries within the top 10 that are not eligible for the chase. And even like the situation with the 77 and the 45 of Tyler Shangle. Basically, his whole team is all-star entries, not eligible for the championship. Kind of starting to look more like a ho-hum road course race. Not a lot of passing going on. We do have an interesting battle at the front of the field between the two teammates. Harvey not letting What Army get too far away, but these two have checked out from the rest of the field. As you can see, DeBlanc not anywhere near the picture at the front here. Still 29 trucks out there running, so we haven't lost any since Josh Gaiman. Alex Portolan Wilson in 9th. He came in so late in the season that he has no chance at pointing or even, for the most part, win and get in, because you still have to be in the top 30 in points with a win to qualify for the chase. Krista Cower got Subaru its one and only win so far. And was it a huge one to get this team a chase berth that was kind of unexpected. I don't think many saw or had the number 98 on their bingo card for making the chase. Plus, I don't think very many people had it on their bingo card that Chaz Chadwick would have had to rely on winning at Pocono yesterday to make it into the chase. Even after his win, he was only able to get back up to 13th in the points. So without that win, there was really no way of him getting into the chase without a win. And so this season has been a huge one of firsts, where we've seen not only Chevy get its first win, but Subaru in its maiden season. Didn't take them long, much more than 10, 15 races to get to victory lane. Followed by Honda, which took all but 20 races in the truck season to get. Honda then went back-to-back with the likes of Chris Harvey and Chaz Chadwick. Seen a lot of first-time winners, big milestones achieved. Tim Cording has racked up 5 out of the first 11 races with a win. With at one point in 10 races, he had a 50% win ratio, which is just absurd. Could have came up with the win yesterday at Pocono, and that would have put him above 50% in the win ratio department. But Chadwick wanted it just a little bit more than the 50 team. Here at lap 25, I imagine, well, we saw at Pocono they were able to go about 30, 40 laps almost on a fuel run. This track a little bit smaller than Pocono. We'll probably see pit stops probably closer to the 35 lap range, would be my guess. It's a lot more technical than Pocono, so the tire wear might start to kick in a little bit quicker. Nope, another one drops off, the 26 truck. And that will be Jamison Thole finishing 29th here today. So 28 truck still running. 35 truck looks like it's been through the blender. It's going to be this truck that our leaders catch up to before long. See, with a little bit more proper testing, I think I could probably adjust the wrecking in that turn out of this track just by playing with the aggression of the AI. Most tracks I run the AI aggression at 101%, and it's kind of a good blend of, you know, passing and aggressivity, that it's not over the top one way or the other. So a pretty good blend. A lot of tracks though, like the short tracks for example, you cannot run at 101%. They would be wrecking almost every lap, every turn. So you have to dial that back to nearly 75 on most of the short tracks. Road courses are the ones that are hard to gauge though, because you'd never know what the racing line, how it's been set up at the track. And all that stuff end up, it's been set up by an individual turning laps to describe what the racing line is so that the AI can follow that. I think if we bump this down to like 95% next time, we would be peachy. And I apologize, that was just me speaking very nerd talk for the game itself, so. Not a whole lot of passing going on here today at Portland. Still got a good battle brewing here at the front. I think pit strategies are really going to be the telltale on what happens in this race. You never know. Someone from 5th on back could have a strategy that gains them 5 spots to the front of the field. I'm impressed that What Army, maybe there's a newly lit fire for this LFG Motorsports Club, that they're, you think about it, they're sitting 1-2 right now. They've won the last 2 races. They can only way is up from here. See, I'm not against having the short tracks. I just think we need a better format. With our big fields like this, these big fields need bigger tracks. But we might have some works in the background that we might see a late model series. Our Bush series might be a little bit more compact, allowing for some smaller fields of racing, so that too would open itself to racing at more short tracks. I guess, in other words, just stay tuned, because we do have a lot of things working in the background on new projects and new series that 2024 will bring for us. And, with that, that would allow for maybe newcomers to the series to kind of get their feet wet in the trenches of late model and, race series like that. The trucks, I feel like, has grown to be a step above some of the, it almost feels like a Premier League as it is with the amount of drivers we have, this, it's got its spirit of its own, that's for sure. And I wouldn't do it any differently. I like having the East, the West. It allows us to have at least 84 drivers designated for the series. And going forward to next year, we might do some cutting back to get more active members of the series in a truck. And hopefully, by word of mouth or friends and family that get into it, we can have a full field of active, 84 trucks every week with banter back and forth between each driver. Definitely is a little bit, kind of weird not having cautions at a short track. The racing's going by pretty quickly. I think NASCAR was onto something when they got rid of stage cautions for the road courses, but then they went backwards on that and re-implemented stage cautions at the road courses. You need a road course to go without breaks in between, because the breaks will just throw off the strategy. Look at Formula One. I mean, Formula One is usually one of the more boring races that I've followed or watched, but only if you're not looking for the small details. Think about it. Even if those races are long drawn out and the leader wins by 30, 40 seconds, there's a lot of strategy going on in the mid-pack. So really, just forget about the driver that wins the race. You got to start looking in the, middle of the pack, the back of the pack, and see which drivers are making moves to gain spots. And I think, I've failed to do that here today, but obviously we had a 21 truck fall out early, and that gave everyone +1 spot. A lot of these drivers have kind of stayed right about where they're running. But if we look further in the pack, we might start to see some names that we didn't expect to see. Dave Steele Jr. has made up 1 spot. He was running 18th. As well as Alan Chavot making up a spot into 19th. So that's where the nitty-gritty of road courses come from, is all the strategy. It's like a big game of chess. You never know who's going to make the next move. Looks like What Army's starting to put a larger gap on Harvey here. I'm going to need someone on Discord to remind me to clear out my Papyrus folder. I think I only have about 5 gigs of space left. I have a terabyte hard drive that I can move all my replays to, but I just got to remember to do that. I keep forgetting to do that. That'll basically be about, well, probably the rest of the season, but I don't want to be cutting it that close if I go to save a replay and it corrupts the file because I didn't have enough space. Oh, and there we go. Pit stops. I said by about lap 35. Here we are on lap 34. So, dang, that's going to be close. We're going to see some drivers that need to pit with about 4 laps to go. 34 will put you to lap 68. If these two at the front can make it to lap 35, that'll put them to lap 70 of 72. So ideally, you want to make it to about lap 36. That'll be right down the middle here at the road course. DeBlank's still staying out, and your leaders, they will stay out to lap 35. I might have called that a bit too early, but yeah, DeBlank does stay out here. Sustre, Braden Hunt up to 5th now in a must-win race on his hands. You think they'd be carrying a lot more speed going into this first turn, but it's only 150 miles an hour. Compare that, of course, to an Indy car where it's about 180 miles an hour going into turn 1. But they have the benefit of the open wheel structure to make that turn at quicker speeds. That too puts it into perspective. You think about it. Our fastest lap here today has been a 114.2. IndyCar, they get around this circuit in 58 seconds. So just the sheer size of the vehicle makes that huge of a difference. Well, there you go. Our leaders are going to be able to make it with one stop here today. The other folks that pitted early, they're going to have to come down pit road at least once more to make to the finish. But once they finish this 36th lap, they'll be past halfway. Of course, halfway through the race, we're 45 minutes into this one, so about 45 minutes left to go. Harvey keeping it interesting up here with What Army? True telltale will be once they make these pit stops, who's going to make gains, who's going to make losses. Wow, they're going to stay out another lap. So they're obviously comfortable with the numbers they're running here, that they don't think they need to pit quite yet. Heck, most of the front of your field not making any pit stops. There we go. Tyler Shangle dips out from 16th. So this is an interesting one here when you have someone that's as high up in the order as 16th. I know that's pretty far back in the order, but pitting this early, he'd get out on fresh tires, run quicker laps. He might catapult himself up about 5 spots with the strategy call here. It'll obviously take a couple laps for that to materialize. We all know that there's not going to be a caution unless the whole track was turned upside down, blocking a, runway. Oh, there we go. What Army dipping down pit road this time? These drivers that have pitted already are taking the undercut. They're going to be able to get the advantage of fresher tires versus the drivers staying out like we've got with Harvey there. Harvey on the slower tires likely going to lose quite a bit of pace to those that just pitted. He's about 4 seconds off of his fast lap here. Go see the 45 of Tyler Shangle and see what he's done since coming back from his pit stop. He's yet to complete a lap from his out lap, but we'll be able to see it right here and see just how fast he's going on fresh tires. Wow, almost too fast. That's going to be the scary part too. These drivers out on fresh tires, if they miscalculate that final turn, might have more drivers dropping out, wrecking into the tires over there. A 119.8, that's actually pretty bland from his first lap after the out lap. Now we got Harvey to blank and the rest of the field to follow suit. Fastnut must have had a scary moment there as he dropped way off the pace. Wow, that was weird. Like he lost power to the truck there for a moment. Maybe running low on gas. Still staying out, Braden Hunt, Tom Cording. Running 1-2 at the moment. They're going to have to pit though. And it looks like Chadwick comes back, or rather Harvey, my bad, comes right back out behind What Army again. Big gainer though on pit stops was Alan Malcolm here, unless he is not pitted, which that could be the case. He might still be out there without having pitted yet. We'll have to keep an eye on him here and see if he pits this time, because if so, he's probably really running towards the end of his... Yeah, there we go. So he still had to pit. And a whole flock of trucks come down pit road. This will give What Army the lead back. Harvey in second. And Brian Blank still running third, with Kyler Sestre in fourth. So only 32 laps remain here at Portland. Seems like we've kind of found the plateau on the drivers making mistake into that last turn. Still 27 trucks remain running. And, still half the field, more than half the field remains. So that's a good bookmark here through more than half the race completed. Oh, 38 of Monty Shangle gets caught up with the treacherous turn here at the end of the track. How far back do we gotta go? Yep. Like clockwork. Wow, almost. But once you get in that grass, you really just can't save it. So now DeBlanc looks like he's under fire here from Kyler Sestre. Oh, the 31 goes way wide there. That's lap traffic there in front of them. DeBlanc needs to make a decision on whether to stay behind or make a pass. Kyler Sestre trying to find an opening. Oh, wow. Sestre might be able to make a pass here. Not missing much out front of the field here. We're watching the battle for third. Sorry, the ticker's not working. As of right now, What Army leads the race. Chris Harvey runs in second. Third is Brian DeBlanc with Kyler Sestre in fourth. Braden Hunt in fifth. Oh, and we're going to have another truck retire there, 31 of Luke. He was just, the pressure was on behind him. He could tell there was a driver trying to make a pass on him and just kind of ran out of track, ran off the track. Kind of nice, you got your own self-cleaning track. When there's someone in the way, they'll just wreck off into the tire barriers. Oh, and we had a switch for the lead. That happened really quickly. So lap 42, Harvey was running second. I'm going fast forward here to see how this happened. What Army had a huge lead. As you can see, Harvey really must have had some luck here with the 15 is way out there. Does he get in the grass in this final turn and save it? Oh, he saved it. Huge save from the 15. At least he gets to continue on and fight for the win here today. It could have been a retirement right there in the last turn, but now Chris Harvey takes the lead away from his teammate in the number 15 Honda Ridgeline. Let's hope that they don't make any more of those mistakes. LFG still running 1-2. Wow, they're flying through that last segment of turns. Still trying to get back up to live here. Didn't want to miss any of the action. Here we go. Back to live. Yeah, now they're definitely letting up now. They're not trying to drive as hard through that turn. You don't want to make a mistake and throw your day away. You got to start to wonder, too, if maybe there was a little bit of team tactics in part there. What Army was not going to gain anything from winning the race here today, but his teammate Chris Harvey will gain 3 bonus points for the chase with another win on his docket. Definitely don't want to assume that there were team tactics involved there, but the two have been racing really hard. I've been looking and watching. I think Chris Harvey had the faster truck this whole time. And What Army finally just made a bobble, made a mistake, and Harvey was able to pounce and steal the lead away. Wow, Harvey turned nearly his fastest lap that last lap, a 1:14.66. His fastest lap being a 1:14.3. Comes back with a 1:14.7, as well as What Army with a 1:14.6. So these guys are still throwing down heater laps out there. We've seen where this 15 truck was in an opportunity to win a few times this season. Last previous opportunity we saw was with, I want to say, who was it? Hobson, I believe. Noah Hobson put down a good run at one of the super speedway tracks and just came up short. The all-star seat for LFG currently, before the start of this race, was 20th in the points. And if things go the way they're going now, they're still going to stay in the top 20, meaning that number 15 truck is going to be looking for some drivers to compete during the chase rounds this season. They had the roster set out all the way up to this point for who was going to be in the seat each week. And I guess they did have drivers listed for the chase as well. As it looks like Hobson's going to return to race at Ricky Raceway next in the East-West Combined Championship. They'll be locked in with Hobson as long as his 15 truck finishes where it's running right now. Hobson, a good fit for those super speedways, as we've seen his last run. I believe it was the Mystic Super Speedway that Hobson had, I think, about a top 5 finish. So returning to a super speedway, going to be a good fit, just like the inclusion now of Guido Piano for the TRD All-Star entry. Guido Piano, 2022 USA Trucks Champion, going to get some more seat time in the trucks, racing for TRD Motorsports. I think Atlee Weiss definitely found himself a ringer for the rest of the season in Guido Piano. And it's going to be exciting to see if Guido Piano could possibly add another win, as he's only had 3 wins in the USA Trucks. Those 3 wins were enough for him to get the championship tied up. So, in a race that hasn't seen very many passing moves in the race, we did at least get one big move for the lead, right at about lap 42. Oh, wow, that's a different spot I haven't seen him get off on. 86 of Josh Drake. Going to kiss the tire wall through the very technical spot at Portland here. Doesn't look like he sustained too much damage on the truck. It keeps going. So unlike the East Coast where we've seen solid dominance from Tim Courting, this West Coast has been pretty well spread out across the whole top 10 in points. You got Tom Courting with 2 wins, Trevor Walker with a win, Kyler Sestre joins the winner's circle, being his first win in the Truck Series, as well as John Hagan and Krista Cower. So 3 new winners in the series within the top 5 in our points. Then we've got Cash and Chris Harvey joining in on the winning as well. But no driver has had more than 2 wins on the West Coast here. And it kind of makes you wonder how they're going to fare once we put them up against Tim Courting next week. The top 10 best drivers from the East, top 10 best drivers from the West. It's safe to say that Tom Courting is well, Tim and Tom both are probably going to be seated towards the top of the list. Tom Courting being the regular season champion here on the West with 2 wins. 25, 31 points. So that'll put him right amongst the top 3 already, as Andre Stefan had 31 points and was the regular season champion. I don't think there's anyone else that's going to get more points, so it's going to look to be that the Courting brothers will hold seat number 1 and seat number 2 going into the first round of the chase. Just imagine if Tim Courting had actually won the regular season championship, add 25 more points onto his already 43 points, chase points. He would add 68 points, which a whole race gap on the whole field. As of right now, he has 43 to Andre Stefan's 31. And we know for a fact that Tom Courting is guaranteed 31 points, but there's still more stats to be compiled to figure out where the other bonus points lay. We had another change for the lead. The 15 gets back by the 12 of Harvey. Wonder if it was the same deal that happened again. Lap traffic's in the way, so maybe lap traffic slowed him up here. Goes through and yeah, it seems like he just makes a mistake going into the turn with the lap traffic in front of him, throws his whole routine off. And the 15 makes a clean pass on the outside, coming back down the front stretch, and blares around to the lead. Battle between these two is far from over. They still haven't got by the lap traffic either. That's going to continue to give them struggles. If they hold them up long enough. Ooh, more drivers out of the race, as we're down to only 19 trucks left now. Alan Malcolm out, Braden Hunt out, Dalton Scott out, and Luke, followed by Roach. And the 58 of Spinham Walker. As well as the 66 of Nathan Mann. Yeah, these two at the front are going to have to give up about 17 seconds if they were to let Brian DeBlank catch up. DeBlank actually has the third fastest lap here on track. Second is Chris Harvey, and first was Monty Shangle. We'll see if the 15 makes the same mistake as the 12 did just a couple laps ago. Running up the back bumper of that 46. Looks like a clean lap from Wood Army, though. So regardless of how things play out, it looks like Gaiman with a 30th place finish. 19 trucks left on track. The 85 of Brian DeBlank should be all but locked in at this point. Unless we had a surprise winner that came from outside, you know, the 6th place driver's first driver without a win. Belafon would have to get by everyone at the front here, which could happen. You never know if all 5 of these drivers wreck into the tire barriers right there. That they could move all the way up to a win here today. Still 15, 17 laps to go. Impressive run for Alan Chavot, running 16th here today. One spot shy of a top 15 finish, which could still happen. Could materialize here at the end of this one. Dave Steele Jr., time starting to run out for him to get the win. But not a terrible season by any stretch of the imagination. 22 team has some good resources to build off of for the next season and on. 14th here today. I think he's going to at least seal a top 20 in the points, which will help guarantee him starts for the rest of the races in the 2023 campaign here. Now your third on back to 7th, all within a very, very tight battle here at the front. Well, not quite the front, but must say though, Kyler Sestre has really put himself on the radar. It's going to be, I think, more exciting to see him match up against some of the other drivers out there. because I think he's going to shock some people. That 24 truck has been consistent. Similar in the likes of, say, like an Andre Stefan, who's put together a bunch of top 10 finishes. Kyler Sustre as well on the season with, well, he's had 6 top 5s, which have equated for his 6 top 10s, and 1 win. Only 1 DNF. Man, the bonus points looks like they're going to go out to everyone. We have a whole lot of them with only 1 DNF. There isn't any driver in the chase with 0 DNFs, so we're going to be giving out bonus points to each driver for the least amount of DNFs on the season. Yep, sure enough, no one else in the chase has 0 DNFs. Ooh, Sustre goes wide there. Luckily, he's able to recover. Allows for DeBlanc to kind of leave the scene of the crime. And believe it or not, DeBlanc is actually closing the gap to the front of the field, albeit very slowly. That 16-second gap has now shrunk down to a 14.8. His lap times have been 1:15.9, and the leader has been 1:16, still stuck behind lap traffic here. It's going to take a miracle for DeBlanc to catch up to these two, but nothing is out of the realm of possibility. You never know if those two might make a mistake. DeBlanc will be sitting in the catbird seat here. You can tell that 85 truck definitely has the pace right now as he's starting to drive away from Kyler Sustre. Turned a 1:16 flat, but the leader turned a 1:16.1. So very, very small increments. He's closing that gap. We'll keep our eyes on the front here to see if these two make any mistakes. If you're just tuning in, you haven't missed a whole lot. Cautions are disabled at the road courses going forward here to try and test trial to see how the racing action unfolds. And Ewan What Army has led all but maybe about 5 laps where Chris Harvey got by him to lead those 5 or so laps. What Army has been dominant in holding the front of the field with ease. It's been actually kind of a surprise. I don't think anyone expected to see this 15 truck dominate like it has here today at Portland. Chris Harvey putting in a solid run here tonight. Brian DeBlanc still sitting in third, looks to be locked into the chase right now. DeBlanc's going to benefit from the misfortune of the others that have wrecked out into the tire barrier here at Portland. There's one danger spot that has gotten every single person here today that is out of the race. Only 19 trucks left running. 12 laps to go. Kyler Sestre still runs 4th, Tom Cording 5th, Belafon 6th, and Lynn Farrell 7th. Then you got Tyler Shangle 8th, Alex P. Wilson 9th, Krista Cower in 10th, Philip Leeds in 11th, John Hagan running 12th, Matthew Fastnot running 13th, Dave Steele Jr. running 14th, Adam Starr in 15th, Alan Chavot 16th, Jacob Shangle running 17th, and Craig Popcris, the last truck on the lead lap, holding the lead position as he's defending against the leaders, Wood Army and Harvey. DeBlanc has shrunk it down to a 14-second deficit now. With that being said, he's going to have to make up at least a second or more every lap to catch up to the two leaders here at the front. Oh, Harvey making a tight turn on the inside here. Bold move, but it didn't pay off as he wasn't able to get the traction to the pavement in time, giving the 15 truck a pretty stout drive out of the corner and away from the 12. DeBlanc has shrunk the gap down to 13.34 seconds, turning a 1:16.3 on his last lap. Leaders are turning 1:17s. DeBlanc has the honor of a clear track in front of him, so he's able to put together the best clean laps with no traffic holding him up. With 10 laps, about to be 9 laps to go. Still a large gap for him to close up, but it'll be interesting to see how close he catches up to these two. Another lap in the books here at Portland. Leaders turning a little bit faster laps that time, 1:16.6. But Brian DeBlanc coming in with an even faster lap than the two leaders, a 1:16.4. Half a second each lap is not going to cut it for him to catch up. He's going to need some more bad luck to fall upon the top two if he's going to pull off the win here today. Eight more to go here at Portland, and we'll have the regular season coming to a close for both the East and the West. Go through the field, and I can already guarantee you those that are locked in, including the 09, the 88, 98, the 90, the 24, the 85 as they run, the 12, and a few others that have since retired in the race, including the 21 of Trevor Walker and the 07 of Cash, with the other one locked in being the 9 of Alan Malcolm. Everyone else is not going to have an opportunity to race for the championship, the combined world championship between the East and the West. the chase it'll bring us to some pretty fun tracks. The last 8 races of the season surely gonna be probably the most exciting that we've seen this season. And I thought Pocono was going to be hard to top last week, or just last night rather. Pocono goes down as an instant classic for the series that will probably be mentioned and name dropped for years and years to follow. Nothing wrong with the Portland race here today either, as it's been a LFG Motorsports slaughter of the field. I'm going to keep the heads-up display open so we can see the gap from the 85 to the lead. You can see right now it's a 12.69 gap for Brian DeBlanc. Still 19 trucks left running. Lap times this time a 1:17.4 for What Army. At least DeBlanc is on the same straightaway as our leaders at the very tail end of that straightaway, but still on the same straightaway, down to 11.7 with only 6 laps to go. You're going to have to imagine that he might need another 6 laps to make this one happen. If last week was any indicator at Evergreen, you don't want to tune out until the checkered flag waves, because no one had expected Chris Harvey to get the win last week at Evergreen. And folks started pitting with 2 laps to go, and Harvey had enough fuel to make it all the way to the finish. And Harvey snuck out a victory at Evergreen when no one saw it coming. Still fighting for the win here today at Portland. He's right there with his teammate, What Army. And see, that was another slow lap. They keep turning these 1:17s. DeBlanc comes across the start-finish line 11 and a half seconds back. So didn't make as big of a gain there as the last couple laps that he did. Now DeBlanc's going to have to average about 2 seconds a lap to catch up to the leaders. He's still benefiting from the fact that they can't get by the lap traffic here of Craig Popcris. Popcris holding on in 18th right on the lead lap. Slowing up the leaders slightly, not very significant, but still a slight hold up here at the front of the field. And I think we just saw a quicker lap there from What Army, as DeBlanc's probably going to lose a bit of gap. Yeah, it went from 11.4 to 11.5. So our leaders are kicking on the afterburners here in the closing laps. Be down to 3 laps to go this next time to the line. And now DeBlanc is going to have to do about 4 seconds a lap on the leaders to catch up to them. I'll keep adding that number up until it possibly happens. You never know. Look there, the 15 way slow at the lead there. Harvey going side by side. Could this be that teammate order 66 maybe? Harvey still maintains second. But they're kind of getting all hustle bustle here at the front. There's a lot of weird movements going on between the two leading trucks here. DeBlanc down to 11 seconds. Gonna have to make up 5 seconds a lap right now. He'd probably get within 10 seconds of the lead, which still gonna be a good finish for that 85 team. Come up 10 seconds short of the win. Still gotta wonder what it would be if we had about 8 more laps in the race for a grand total of 80. Whether or not people could make it on the pit stops that they've made already, or if there'd actually be a fuel mileage race. One thing's for certain though, we will not have a fuel mileage race on our hands as they run right now. 2 laps remaining here at Portland. And DeBlanc doesn't gain a whole lot there, down to 10.9 from his 11 flat. Brian still leading the slower second pack here. DeBlanc's truck not that slow though. He's the fastest of this pack, and with the lap traffic holding up the leaders, still continuing to whittle away at the gap in front of him. This run here today is going to be tremendous for the team to get them locked into the chase. Did it in some of the more untraditional ways, getting through on points, showing his strengths here at the road course where he is very much at home. 10.23, only 2 laps remain. Chris Harvey's going to have at least one more opportunity here to try and get the lead back in the final lap of the race. Guarantee you that he does not want to come up second here today and give away any bonus points that he could have got. White flag waves. We've got one final circuit around the track here. These two at the front have definitely put on a clinic. "10 seconds even is the gap now as DeBlanc has closed as much as he could. The lap counter running out. The only truck that is not going to have a win in the LFG camp. Looking to be Jeffrey Gerald, as Chris Harvey was the first just 2 weeks ago to get a win for LFG in the Honda. And then last night, we saw Chadwick finally break his snide to get into victory lane and into the chase with the win at Pocono. And here today at Portland, it's going to be an LFG sweep, as you and What Army will get to celebrate with Chaz Chadwick and getting to victory lane back-to-back nights for the team. Brian DeBlanc coming home third, 8 seconds back. He closed that gap even more on the final lap. He chopped it down 1 whole second. So, yeah, as I was saying, if there were 8 more laps, there's no telling what could have happened. Could have seen a crazy come from behind win of sorts, but that did not happen, as we are finished at lap 72 here. And you and What Army wins it. Brian DeBlanc locks his way into the chase, along with the number 9 of Alan Malcolm. Those will be your 2 drivers that point their way in. And the other drivers were all locked in on wins, as we had 8 different winners. It's really going to get fascinating once we put the best of the best together between the East and the West. Actually 18 trucks survived here at Portland today, as most of them kept falling victim to the same spot in the track right here. But 18 is still a good number. That's more than your top 10. Still had a chance to fight for the top 10 positions. Your top 10 following our top 3, we had 4th was Kyler Sustre, 5th Tom Cording, 6th Bella Fawn, 7th Lynn Farrell, 8th Alex P. Wilson, 9th Krista Cower, and 10th Philip Leeds. So all's well that ends well for our chase contenders. Wasn't near as much drama in this one as we saw last night at Pocono, which some people might agree is better, since you don't have to be taking the Tums and Rolaids to watch the race. And that marks the conclusion of the regular season here for the Summer USA Truck Series. Obviously, next time around, we'll have to do a little bit more testing here on Portland to make sure that the drivers don't go off track in that same spot for future races. But overall, not a bad race here on the road course. I think the biggest surprise of all was not seeing Trevor Walker walk away with another road course win.
Did you have that same...
Last season, we saw him dominate on the road courses and just slaughter the field. So that marks the end of tonight's broadcast, everyone. Congratulations to you and What Army, getting the 3 in a row for LFG Motorsports with 3 different drivers. It's been a long time coming for the LFG team as they've been trying to work out all the kinks with the Honda. Honda's been giving them fits all season long, but it seems that they've got it finally tuned already, and at the right time as you've got momentum rolling into the chase now. I think Ricky Raceway is going to be one of Chaz's favorite tracks to go to, as he's already gotten a win there before. And it's truly going to be a great unknown being a super speedway. Our first round in the chase, we'll definitely see some shakeup in the points. I'm thinking what's going to be key for this chase is executing consistency. We've seen it on the east side where Tim Cording got 5 wins out of the 11 races, but his lack of consistency kept him out of actually winning the championship for the regular season. So consistency, consistency, consistency should be the key to winning the championship, I'd say. And we'll see. It's going to be 8 frantic weeks of racing coming up here for the USA Trucks. Hopefully all are excited as I am, and just have to keep tuning in to see what happens. Hopefully all have a good night. Thanks for tuning in tonight. This is me closing out the stream. Have a good one.